संस्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयोः स्थित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। नमस्ते यतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिनि तापाय। परम पूजनीय परम श्रद्धेय Prapannanandaji Maharaj ji and the assembled devotees, a very dear and revered Maharaj arrived only at 5 a.m. this morning. It's a long flight of maybe about 16 hours or 18 hours. In spite of that, I thought our devotees should not miss the chance of listening to him. It was a short notice, a working day, otherwise many more would be attending. Still, it's always necessary to listen to elders, because the Gita also says, Yadyat acharati shresthaha tatyeva itaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastadana vartate. So it's a great blessing and opportunity, because Maharaj is in the holy order for probably close to 6 decades. And also he happens to be in his Guru Ashrama, relative of one of the spiritual luminaries of the order. Rev.Sw was president, and one of the most favored disciples of Raja Maharaj. He was known for his sterling spiritual qualities. Maharaj spent many years at the Rajkot Ashrama and is in the West for about 45 years or so, and is the head of a very beautiful ashrama in Sacramento. I've been there at least some 3-4 times. Very nice ashram. And Maharaj by nature is very calm, contemplative. So obviously, I've always been telling you the Ramakrishna mission is not famous for speakers. After Swami Vivekananda, we got one Swami Prapannanandaji after 50, 60 years or 70 years. So that has been never ever forte. We always, mission has stood for great lives. Sadhus were never probably given a single lecture, but they influenced the lives of others. So that's what is necessary. So I was very, very keen that Maharaj should address the devotees. It was really kind of him, because probably he's still very, very tired. Got over the jet lag. But anyway, Maharaj is used to this kind of situation. So in fact, he had written that I can meet him. I said, no, Maharaj, you please come to Gurgaon Ashrama. It's a new ashram. We need your blessings, and you can be with us for 1 or 2 days. And then you can also address our devotees. Maharaj very kindly agreed. So I request Maharaj to address the devotees. Pranam Maharaj.
Good evening. I thank Swami for kindly inviting me to this place. This is a new place for me. I have never seen this place. I came about 6 years ago, and at the time, Jaishankar Maharaj was in charge of the Delhi center, and he was building, I believe, this place at that time, but it was not functioning. So it was dedicated, I think 2 years ago, he told, on Jagadhati Puja Day. Incidentally, our center in Sacramento also was established in Jagadhati Puja Day in the year of 1964. And we celebrated Jagadhati Puja on Saturday, last Saturday. Today is Wednesday, last Saturday we celebrated it. The reason is that the actual Jagadhati Puja was Sunday or Monday? Sunday. And we go by one a little bit later, because it is in the West. So we celebrated on Saturday. Because the reason is that more devotees can come on holidays. So this year we celebrated our Diamond Jubilee, 60 years completion. And our center, I do not know if you have seen it. It is in the capital city of California, Sacramento. It is just at the time of establishment, it was in the outskirts, but now it is more or less inside, though our downtown may be about 8 miles from our center. So the property was purchased by Swami Ashokananda Swamiji, who was a very powerful speaker and also spiritual personality. And he was very keen that in the spreading of Vedantic knowledge in the West. Some of you might be knowing that Swami Vivekananda went to the West twice, and second time actually he visited West part of the United States, starting from Los Angeles, and he spent about 90 days, I think, in the Bay Area. That means in San Francisco, in Oakland, Alameda, and such other places. Those who are familiar with the geography of that place. Nowadays, of course, many people know about those places. That is why I am telling it. So during that 90 days, he actually probably gave 90 lectures. That means you can imagine how hard he had to work, or how hard he worked there. The purpose of his going there was he had a standing invitation from one of the ministers of an Unitarian church which is in Oakland. It is still there, and he invited him. He attended with Swamiji the Parliament of Religion there together, and then he invited him that if you get a chance to come through, he will arrange. So in that way, that was the first invitation that she had from him. Though he went to Los Angeles first, he stayed in Pasadena amongst the devotees or known persons who were known to him from the East Coast. Some of them had some relations, and some of them went there. So in that way, when he came for the second time, he told that, well, I have not gone to that place. If you just arrange something there, I shall go. In that way, he went there. Then after this standing invitation was there, so he went to the Bay Area. And he mostly stayed in Alameda, stayed in San Francisco also. So these two places he mostly stayed. But Alameda, those who have a little bit knowledge of geography, it is not too far from San Francisco. And in those days there were no bridges. So he used to travel by boat. Boat means steamer. And in that way, he gave many talks, as I told you, in that area. And our Berkeley Center will be celebrating this 125th anniversary. That means this is the 125th anniversary year of Swami Vivekananda's visit of the Bay Area. And they have arranged elaborate program. Probably there will be five programs will be there. There will be speakers from different parts, and also musical program, cultural programs, then tours. That means it has been researched out in which places Swamiji stayed, in which places Swamiji spoke, and in which places what he spoke. So in that way, very detailed research has been done, and they corresponding to those details, they will be celebrating it. We shall also take part. Unfortunately, Swami Vivekananda did not visit Sacramento, though we presume that Swami Vivekananda passed to Sacramento, because when he returned from the Bay Area, at that time the railway started from the Oakland, and then the line passed to Sacramento Center and came to Chicago. The line is still there and it's still operative. That means it is one of the main lines for goods and all those things. And we say that, well, Swami Vivekananda was not in the city, but he has at least touched Sacramento through the railway car. And also he visited, there's a record of his visiting one place which is named Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta is considered by the native Indians, who are very spiritual actually, to be one of the most sacred places of their community. So he had been there and stayed there also, camped there for some time. That record is there, but we have not found out in which places he actually stayed in Mount Shasta. But all the places where he stayed in in Alameda and San Francisco. They have been found out, and in that way you will find they are published also. And as I told you, elaborate functions will be done and also publications will be there about his 125th, on the occasion of 125th anniversary of Swami Vivekananda visit of the Bay Area. So Sacramento, as I told you, they was started by our Swami Ashokananda Swami. He was there in 30s. I believe he went there on 32 and lived up to 1969. So in that way he lived there, and he was a very, very powerful speaker. That means after Swami Vivekananda, actually is considered to be one of the best speakers of our order. And very inspiring and very active also. After going there, at that time the center was started by, as you know, by Swami Vivekananda, before he left San Francisco. He established officially, that means it was made a registered body as Vedanta Society of Northern California, but they did not have any establishment, a building and all those things. It was registered office, was a devotee's place. And after Swami Trigunatitanandaji went there, then actually he expanded it, that means bought the property and built a temple there, which is now known as Old Temple. That was the original temple. And very recently means about 15-20 years ago, it has been renovated and has and it is still being used for classes and such other activities. Though during Swami Ashokananda time, he lived there in the old temple and he constructed a new temple, bigger temple, almost like this, and a beautiful temple he constructed. And at the same time, he expanded the work, starting the Berkeley Center. Berkeley Center has a very beautiful temple, and also there is a big retreat center which is known as Olima Center, and it has about 2,000 acres of property and retreat houses for men and women devotees, and my monastery also is there. And also he bought property in the Lake Tahoe area. Lake Tahoe, as you know, is a very well-known place all over the world for its scenery and also weather. And skiing place, actually once Winter Olympics also was held there. So there also he purchased property and made a summer house for himself and also monks of the order, and also with San Francisco Center he started a convent also. That means there are women monks, if you call it, or monastics are there, and it is still continuing. And then actually he bought the property of Sacramento and built the center there. The beauty of the Sacramento Center is that it was built with the hands of devotees. Here actually you engage an architect. Of course, Ashokananda Swamiji engaged an architect. Architect gave the plan, it was approved. And the style of that building is considered to be what is called missionary style. That means in those days, Christian missionaries, when they went to first Mexico, and they actually expanded in the early 60s and 1600 and 1700. They used to have different cities on all along the shore of the Pacific, and they have a typical what is called architecture. In that way, it has got that type of architecture. And then when the architect gave the design, all the construction was done by the hands of the monks, devotees of his time. That means they worked as carpenter, they worked as what is called they did as masons, and women devotees actually built or laid the garden, and in that way it was built. So it is a very special place, we can say. Very few, I don't think in India any center has been built in that way. In Chicago, of course, a retreat center, they have a retreat center in Ganges. To some extent, it has been built in that way. But Sacramento Center is very well known for that, and there is sentimental attachment for those who are associated with that center because it was built by the hands of the devotees. So we celebrated that, and also we published a small booklet about the description, how actually it came into existence. And that is there. The place was started as very recently it was recounted, because I am coming just after the Jagadhatri Puja, and there it was recounted that Swami Ashokanandaji used to speak in San Francisco and in the Bay Area, even from Sacramento, which is about 2 hours drive. You can imagine in those days driving was not that easy. So even during his time also, people used to go from Sacramento to San Francisco to hear him. So in that way, a group of devotees thought that if he comes there and speaks to the devotees who go there, then probably more people, that means they can invite more people, and in that way, more people will learn about Vedanta. And in that way, Swami Ashokananda used to go there, and also by that time, Swami Swarupanandaji, who became the assistant minister of the Vedanta Society of Northern California and was in charge of the Berkeley Center, he also helped him in his work. In that way, they used to share classes and talks they used to do. And then actually they suggested that if you build a temple, then naturally more people will be able to take the advantage of that. So he agreed. He said that, well, yes, if I get a good place, I shall start a center. So in that way they searched. And usually searching means, in here at the beginning of the, what is called, this Ramakrishna Math and Mission, they naturally, a devotee's house, somebody donated a house and that was converted. There also it happened in that way, that devotees had given houses, especially if you go to Newark, you'll see that houses inside the, what is called, locality, that means a townhouse, a series of houses are there, and one of the houses were given, and the center is continuing in that way. It was converted into Vedanta Society, Vedanta Temple. But he wanted to have a completely new structure to be built. So in that way, ultimately after a long search, he found that place, and it is about 7 acres of land, and it was a fallow land. That means in that area, walnut used to grow. So some farmer had a walnut garden, about 15-20 acres. So, but there was no, and in those days, it was a very, California was a very drought-stricken place. So sometimes crop used to fail, and sometimes there were problems. So he did not continue, and he wanted to sell that property, and it was divided into 2 parts. One part was taken by a person who is also those who are in the sports, what is called area, might be knowing. His name was Shram Kapoor. He was a very well-known swimming, what is called, teacher. Teacher means coach. And through him actually, about 15 Olympic gold medalists actually have come out. Mark Spitz, some of you in the sports field probably know his name. So in that, he built that, and he trained the swimmers, and it is still there. Of course, it has changed hands. So one portion he bought, and another portion was bought by Swami Ashokanandaji. So as I told you, after building the building was designed by one architect, Mr. Gutterson. He was also the architect of the Vedanta Society of Berkeley, and he was also the architect of the Vedanta Society of Northern California, the new temple that he had constructed. In that way, he was very competent and trustworthy of Swami Ashokananda. So, as I told you, at that time, it is it is a parallel 3 centers actually was continuing. One was the new temple. New temple at that time, it was started in 1959, and it was still in the process. This property was purchased in 1950, and then it took long time because devotees have to go and on the weekends, and then materials have to be put. And at that time also, because of the war situation. That means 45, the war ended, but still there is a great control over the cement and steel and all those things. That means all building materials were was not available because they are used for the military purposes. Military purposes means in Sacramento there are 3 military bases. One is Methare Airport, then is McLennan Airport, and in that way there are 3. And also there is an army depot was also there. So a lot of military activities were continuing because of the Second World War, but they are still continuing. So in that way, under these circumstances, they built that place, and it took long 14 years to complete. And people used to complain. That means, well, you are continuing, when that you will actually open this, dedicate this for the devotees. The Swamis, as I told you, Swami Ashokananda and Swami Santaswarupananda, and from here Swami Shraddhanji Maharaj also went there in 1958. And he also started assisting Swami Ashokanandaji Maharaj. So in that way, he used to, especially Swami Santaswarupanandaji and Swami our previous Swami, he also used to go very regularly and used to have the meetings. That means Sunday services where there a little bit worship was there, because they had built at the beginning a small shrine and a little space for devotees sitting. Probably 20 to 30 devotees could sit in that way. They had a shrine there, but that was a temporary. So in that way they continued the preaching. At the same time, the devotees and monks and nuns, they used to construct that place. So in 1964 on Jagadhatri Puja Day, it was dedicated, and the dedication ceremony was performed by Swami Asheshanandaji Maharaj. He was in charge of the Portland Center. Portland Center is also, it was started earlier, and Swami Prabhupada actually started that, but later on Swami Asheshanandaji became in charge, and he lived there for a long time. He passed away in 1996, yes, probably at the age of 96 years. And he went as an assistant to Swami Nikhilanandaji Maharaj, and then after Nikhilanandaji, he came to Hollywood, was an assistant to Prabhupada, and then ultimately he took charge of the Portland Center. And he was Holy Mother's disciple, and he performed the opening ceremony. So, as you can understand, in those days, Indians were not there at all the Americans. Actually, still we have about 50% Americans and 50% Indians, though there is a good number of Indians because of this IT and other things. A lot of young people have settled there, and their parents and their families and all still they are there. And some of them are devotees, not all of them, because those who have gone to United States, they have gone for the monetary purposes, or living a good life, or whatever it may be. But still, their parents are there. When parents come, and if they are devotee, definitely they remember that, when they hear that there is a center of a Ramakrishna Math here, they want to come. So in this way, the center grew up, and it is continuing. But a little bit drawback is there because of the COVID. After COVID, as you know, that because of the Zoom business, that means Zoom is there, so naturally the point is that the location of our place, and in other centers also, the devotees are not in large numbers. They are all scattered, probably miles and miles away. So it has become, they have lost the habit of coming to the center, and it is coming back, but especially the elderly devotees, it is very difficult. They have to depend on their children to drive. So naturally, still we give classes and all those things on Zoom, and that definitely COVID has affected our attendance. But in celebrations we get a lot of people because especially Indians like celebrations and they come in good numbers. Recently we had our Jagadhatri Puja, about 100 people were there, and you can say about at least 1/3 were Americans, I can say. So what we preach there, that is the point. As I told you, Swami Ashokananda was a very powerful speaker, and in fact he was very unfortunately, though recording was in those days in a very nascent stage, he did not like his recording of his lectures, very unfortunately. But some of the devotees, that means he used to give lectures in San Francisco Old Temple, and Old Temple has a basement. And some of the devotees actually used to do, from the basement actually they used to put the microphone. And in that way, without his knowledge actually they had recorded many lectures which are available. And they have been, some of them have been transcribed. He was dead against a recording of his lectures, whatever it may be. So Swami Vivekananda, when he went there, he went to preach Vedanta, not exactly Ramakrishna or Sarada Devi or our gods and goddesses or celebrations and all those things which is very common in our Hindu religion. Of course, he did not disrespect, but that was not the primary purpose of his visit. He actually, when he first went to the West in Chicago, it was Hinduism. That means as a representative of Hinduism, he spoke there, and his spirit was in that line. But when he went for the second time, actually, he was very particular. That means particular branch of the Hinduism, if we call it, that is Vedanta. That was the main thrust. And Swami Ashokananda actually maintained that. In his center, he did not really introduce much of the worship services, though there is there, but it is not there. I cannot say that it is not there, it is there, but in a rudimentary form, not a very elaborate way. And after him, Swami Prabodhanji went there, and he was a devotee type, so he introduced some of them, but still the main teaching is the Vedanta. But in contrast, actually, in Southern California, in Hollywood, we have a center, Swami Prabodhanji was there. He was a very devotee. That means he himself, during his time, actually introduced all the paraphernalias of devotional practices. Daily worship is there, 3 times worship is there, bhogas are there, that means rice bhog he had introduced, that is still there. Kali Puja is there, whole night Kali Puja is there. So in that way there is, in north and south there you will find a vast difference in the approach to our what is called Hinduism or our religion. So in this way, the activities that we do in United States, just it has a pattern. Here also it is more or less like this. That means Sunday lectures are there, because in churches, Christian churches, Sunday is a very important day. Those who like to continue to their religion, they go on Sundays to the church. There are priests or ministers, they give talks on religious subject and they attend. We have also, it was introduced by our predecessors, this type of system. That means Sunday lectures will be there on some topic of religion. Nowadays, of course, we definitely speak about Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swami Vivekananda, other disciples also. And along with that, definitely the message of Vedanta is of the primary importance. And I can tell you one thing which is very strange. That means Holy Mother is very popular in America, at least. I have knowledge of America, but definitely in America, Holy Mother is very popular. Probably more popular than Sri Ramakrishna. Of course, Swami Vivekananda is there because of the spirit and the message that he has left, but Holy Mother is very popular. I can tell you one incident by which actually we will be able to figure out why I am saying that. When Swami Vivekananda went there, there is no puja and all those things. You will find that direct disciples even complained to him that you went to the West, you never talked about Ramakrishna. He gave probably 1 or 2 lectures about my guru. That means in that way, my teacher. In that way, I think 1 or 2 rare lectures are there on Sri Ramakrishna. Then what to say about Holy Mother? That means she was completely unknown. And when Swami Ashokanandaji was there, in the meantime, Swami Trigunatitanandaji was there from the point of view of Northern California. Then Swami Prakashanandaji was there. They also did not dare to introduce Swami Holy Mother Sarada Devi. And Swami Ashokanandaji also, some people used to complain. That means, why you don't talk about Holy Mother and there is no worship and all those things. So he said that, I feel very, uncomfortable to introduce Holy Mother Sarada Devi as wife of Sri Ramakrishna. So that was the reason that I do not introduce or talk about him. But those who come, talk about him, want to know about him, I talk to him, but publicly I do not do that. But during the Swami, our Swami Shraddhanji's time, actually people praised him. That means ultimately we had in our shrine, the images are there. That means Sri Ramakrishna, then Swami Vivekananda, and Buddha and Jesus Christ. In that way, want to have these 4 pictures used to be there in our center. So after Holy Mother's birth century, actually that means the pressure came. That means people wanted him more than Sri Ramakrishna, because Sri Ramakrishna was very austere and strict. Holy Mother was very open-hearted and very welcoming, especially for devotees. So her approach was so great, and that is why devotees like him very much. So Swami Shraddhanji said that, before I die, he actually lived about 89 years. So before I went there in 89, and he lived 7 years more. At that time he was 82. He was sick at that time, so I went to assist him. So he said that, I think before I die, I must place Holy Mother on the altar. So he did that. That means he ordered a nice picture, Holy Mother, this same picture, and it was put on the altar. And in that way, Holy Mother's has a great place. Almost now in all shrines you'll find in United States that Holy Mother is there. Swami Ashokananda is a very staunch devotee of Holy Mother, and he always take the name of Holy Mother in every action, and used to advise devotees. And his life actually reflected great devotion to Holy Mother Sarada Devi. So in this way, we are doing our activities, and we are continuing, and I hope that more as time passes, more and people, as you know, the present trend is yoga. There is no doubt about it, because maybe our Prime Minister, or whatever it may be, he has given a little bit impetus, Yoga Day and all those things. Now everywhere you will find a yoga studio in America, or even in the West in general. So yoga has picked up, and of course, you know, Americans make anything a business, can make anything or make business out of anything. So yoga is a big business in the West. That is good in one sense, that they don't mind if they get something, they're ready to pay for that. That is perfectly all right. And with the meditation, actually, with yoga, actually, meditation is picking up. That means almost in all yoga centers, you will find that they are teaching yoga. Of course, yoga meditation means general meditation like Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and also there are many teachers who have popularized this meditation in the West. I can give you one just very recently. We live in an area where there are 2-3 other Christian churches, and in our area there is one church which is known as Gethsemane Church. So Gethsemane Church is just 2 blocks away from there. And I knew that the minister who was there, actually he passed on. Then a lady was there, she was in the minister in charge. Then a new minister actually got appointed. So he, after coming there, naturally he had a young person, so he wanted to know in the locality who are there, who are preaching, what they are preaching, and wanted to know who are the persons who are there. In that way, he made an appointment with me and came there, and we talked. He was very young. He is very young in a sense from our point of view, in 40s or maybe late 40s. So during the discussion, it turned out, I said that, oh, what is your routine, what do you do? There is, as you know, there is a very shortage of what is called spiritual teachers or religious teachers in the West. And we have a Catholic church also. There are several Catholic churches also there. And one of them is St. Mary's Church. And that minister of that church was from Kerala. So he used to have interfaith meetings during this Christmas time. So he used to invite different representatives of different religion. And being an Indian, we used to become a little friendly. So he said that, you see, Swami, nowadays actually India exports Christian, what is called priests all over the world. That means there is a great shortage of what is called Christian teachers in the West. And many what is called Indian spiritual Christian teachers are all over the world. Even after his going away, that means you can imagine that that St. Mary's Church, as I told you, after his going, another Kerala minister from the Kerala came, and he is actually continuing. The point is that there is a shortage. So what I was telling, that his name is Jason. That means the minister who was a neighbor that Gethsemane Church, his name is Jason. Jason Bent, his name, Minister Jason. They call father, that is like Swami, they call it is comes. He is in charge of two churches. That means one church is there and another church is, bigger church is there of the same denomination, so he had to handle 2 churches. So it is like this, that means there is great shortage of spiritual teachers in the West. So what I was saying, that he came just to familiarize himself with the neighboring churches and neighboring religious teachers, ministers. So he came. So we were talking. So I asked him that, what is your routine? So he said that, well, my routine, I have some church duties. That means there are traditional followers of their denomination. So I look after them, mostly elderly people. And I have to give sermon and all those things. And then he said that during the discussion, it turned out that he does meditation. That means can you imagine? That means in Christianity, especially in Catholicism, they used to hate meditation. They used to say it is irreligious for them to do meditation. And now actually, you ask any spiritual personality of any denomination, they will say that yes, for some time they do meditation. So the point is that meditation is now picking up, there is no doubt about that. Though it is not exactly for us, but in general it is picking up. Then of course you can see for ourselves, as I told you, previously Vedanta was the most thrust. But now of course we definitely teach about Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother and Swami Vivekananda definitely. And also along with the Vedanta, there is no doubt about that. And we have very good speakers now. Swami Sarvapriyananda is very popular. That means he says that, well, when I go for a walk in the, what is called in Central Park, that is his adjoining by his center actually, when he takes a walk, some cyclist will come and ask him, oh, are you Swami Sarvapriyananda? You see, I am hearing your lecture while I am biking. That means in that way he is so popular even in the West. So of course we are trying, all of us are trying our best to do as much as possible to preach Vedanta, and also along with Vedanta our message of Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother and also Swami Vivekananda, there is no doubt about it. And hopefully, as you know, in this country there are many groups, that means they have not still been affiliated to the Ramakrishna Math and Mission. In United States also there are many groups which depend upon other centers, like our Hollywood Center has many. You cannot say exactly sub-center, but definitely the Swami who is in charge of the Hollywood Center, he had to maintain some of the group of devotees who are scattered and they have formed their own groups. In that way, the Washington DC Center has come up, and then Dallas, then Houston, all those centers have come up. They started as a very nascent centers. Also Swami, other Swamis also had worked, so in that way it is now spreading all over the country, there is no doubt about that. So I think I gave you a little bit idea how Vedanta is working in the West and what we are doing there, and definitely I welcome all of you whenever you visit United States. I know that everybody has some acquaintance or relative or sons and daughters in United States, because now, as we see, even in the politics and other places, people of Indian origin is coming up. So there is a good relationship, at least from the point of view of culture and religion, about in the West. So when you visit West, visit our centers. And if you happen to visit the western part of the country, please do visit our center also, that is in Sacramento. It is not too far from San Francisco, about 2 hours drive. And definitely if you go to the Bay Area, the person who will invite you, or when you visit there, you will be going to Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe is a very famous place. And it is just in the middle, and the road actually passes just by the outskirt of bypass, you can say, bypasses Sacramento. So in that way also, you can visit our center. It's a beautiful center, and we are trying to maintain the spirit in which actually it was established by Swami Ashokanandaji during his tenure. And I thank you very much for giving me a chance to speak to you this evening. I thank Swami for inviting us. Actually, there is no chance of visiting him. I told him I am coming. Then he actually snatched her. Actually, he poached from the old center to here. So he said that you first come here, then you go there. So in that way, I had the opportunity of visiting this new center. And thank you very much, Swami.
Yathagne Tahika Shakti Ramakrishna Stahiya Sarva Vidya Swarupanta Sharadam Pranamamiham. Paramgal pranams to Premier Maharaj for giving us a bird's eye view of the American world. See, from here, people always think that going to America is very great and this and that. We know how hard this is. Maharaj is 82 years old, and every day he cooks his own food. And most all Swamis have to do dishwashing and cleaning and painting and other stuff. So it's very, only once, see the point is, why do we complain? Even in the household, people, mothers, housewives and others, why we always complain? We feel that, we are working, instead of that we should do something else. We are not getting enough time for our meditation and this and that, we have to work. So, but if you have the right attitude towards that, otherwise, why should Swami go and cook his food and eat? When he will be in India, he did not cook. So, if you have the right attitude, whatever you do, it becomes, an offering to the Lord. So, in Sri Krishna also Bhagavan says that et karoshi yadasnashi et josi dadasi et tavasya kaunteya tat kurushya madarpata. So it's a big struggle for them. Many years they have to, Maharaj was staying all alone for many years, maybe decades. Then maybe some 4 or 5 years back they could manage to send an assistant. So wherever we are, they inwardly, you may live in America, in India you may live, but you may live the most luxurious life. You may live in America, you can be the most austere person. For example, the previous head of San Francisco Center, Swami Prabhupada, was a very revered monk. He never used to visit any place. Only is center. So wherever external world will be always like that. Internally we have to align ourselves to a great idea. Remember what's the purpose of life, why we have come. So if you live like that, then you can live a great life wherever you are. So we're very happy that Maharaj could come. I'm so happy so many of you could come, although it's a working day and short notice. But of course, I have always been telling that in this center we maintain that spiritual culture, essentially for that kind of activities where we feel where we can go more inward and so on. That should be our attitude and approach. So we have more programs. Day after tomorrow, most of you, Sridhanji Maharaj, one of the senior most vice presidents of the order, he is coming. So 22nd evening, we can have at 5 o'clock. Again on the 23rd evening, we can have Maharaj Darshan. Probably Maharaj, if he is feeling well and it's okay, he may speak also on 23rd, but I have not told him, and depends upon his 89 or touching 90. So depending upon his health, because that day he has to give initiation. On 24th, we have a very wonderful Swami, who is much younger than me, is coming from Brazil. Imagine, maybe some 4,000 kilometers or what, I have no idea of the distance. So he'll be coming. He's not only a good speaker, he's a very good singer also. Probably he may also sing some bhajans. So please take the trouble of coming either on Friday or Saturday, and certainly on Sunday also. So don't miss these opportunities. See, somehow we have to keep track who is coming to India. Many don't even write to us. The one they get to know immediately, I run after them. Please do come, don't miss Gurgaon. There are a lot of very good devotees here. So you should also support me by coming. Otherwise, if you call, there's nobody there, only me and Maharaj. Arey wow, so faida nahi hai, don't go. Huh? So don't bring bad name to Gurgaon. Come in large numbers, attend. See, in every little thing you will always pick up something. It's not that, in every talk, every occasion, whenever you come, if you are attentive, you will definitely get one idea. If you build on that one idea, that's how your inner life would blossom, how it would flower. Thank you very much. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Namaste. So you cannot offer pronouns to Maharaj outside.